are live.
What's happening?
Hello.
I need to move my mic away from the computer screen because it's all the sounds. I forgot that it was up there, and I was like, "Why am I hearing a massive echo?" Like, oops.
Oopsies. Hello, everybody, and happy Monday.
It's the slowest Monday ever.
It was a very long day, but we're here, and we're here to talk about a very interesting topic today. But before we do, we just want to wait for everyone to come in. So we're going to do just a quick little chat for about, what do you say, 7 minutes while we wait for everyone to show up?
Probably enough to get it all out.
Okay, so let's get into it, because me and Brittany were backstage about to have this conversation, but we're gonna have it with y'all. And we're gonna talk about Kanye West. Yes, we are. That is our intro before our show, because it needs to be discussed. And the sad thing is, I don't even know where to begin.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, my friend texted me about 10 minutes ago and was
oh,
like,
you don't know what happened? Okay,
no,
so
she was like, Kanye has lost it. And I was like, what did he do now?
well, I think he's done some more stuff since, but yesterday he literally oh, honey, he went on a whole rant on social media, and I'm pretty sure it was on Instagram. And he was coming for everybody. He was coming for Kim. He was saying that she wasn't allowing him to see his kids. He was saying that he doesn't really have full custody of his kids because he didn't have anything to do with any say so in like where they could go to school. And he was mad that North was still on TikTok dancing, talking about she's in love with an emo girl with dark makeup on. And he doesn't want her on TikTok anymore. He was, like the whole Chicago birthday party situation got brought up, and he was going on and on and on and talking about how, why couldn't his kids come to Sunday service? And like North was supposed to come to like the album release party. She didn't come. And I mean, it just went on to the point where Pete Davidson
oh no
reached out to Kanye, texted him, and was like, yo, you are doing the most. Like, you need to stop. And he was basically like, I've been nice to you this whole time. I've kept my mouth shut. You have said some horrible things about me. But if you don't calm down and stop, I'm going to stop being nice. And he was like, I've stopped comedians from talking about you. I've stopped SNL from talking about you. He was like, Kim is an amazing mom. Like, you're going to scar your family for life. Like, he was going in.
All the screenshots of this.
Kanye didn't post the screenshots, but I think like one of Pete Davidson's friends who somehow got access to the conversation posted it all online. DL Hughley got involved, and then Kanye dragged DL Hughley. I mean, girl,
oh my God,
where have you been? Where have you been?
I'm sorry. I have some planner deadlines that I have due for myself. So it's like all my free time has been watching dubbed anime and drawing.
Okay. You know what? Your life sounds a lot more peaceful, and maybe I should adopt that. But I'm not going to lie. I was shooketh because my mind was just spinning. I was like, does Kanye not understand that he is a huge worldwide celebrity, and he is jeopardizing the safety of his children, his ex-wife, like himself?
Of course not.
Shook. I don't even know. I don't even know.
I'm going to have to look this up after the podcast today. I just want him to keep it off social media. Like, you got plenty money and plenty lawyers. Like, the only reason you don't have a restraining order and people aren't calling you crazy is because you got millions of dollars.
Basically.
So, like,
and because you're a man.
Right. Please stop. Because you got me feeling bad for Kim Kardashian, and I hate this.
We will reconvene on this conversation once you've had a chance, if you even care to, because you may not even want that level of disturbance in your life.
I don't know if I want it, to be honest. Like, I might legit just ignore it, because that's married people business that should not be on social media. And last time I checked, he didn't even like us, no way. And as he claims we made a choice, he made a choice too.
Oh shit. Look, we're going to leave it right there, because he's right. He claims a lot of things were choices that clearly weren't. So he should have chose better. That's all I have to say. You should have chosen someone better, because clearly she has ruined his life, according to him. All right, so we're just gonna move right along. But I just
Moving
had to say
right
that.
along. I gotta get
Everybody,
some Black Rose.
it looks like we have a lot of people in the house. A
We
lot of
got our
y'all have
people.
arrived, so welcome. Oh, Read Love Listen wants to know what DL Hughley said. Okay, so I will just touch on this since you asked. So DL Hughley has a podcast or some type of podcasting situation where he gets to share his opinions. And I guess they were talking about it on there. And he basically said that he feels that this is dangerous.
Yep.
And that he's putting Kim's life in danger, the kids' lives in danger. He said that he called Kanye a stalker and said that he was stalking Kim. And then he basically said that, kind of what you said, Brittany. He said that, you know, he is the only thing in between him and a restraining order are his millions/billions of dollars.
Yeah,
And
because
that
he
if
also
this,
said if it was his daughter, he would have wrote up on Kanye a long time ago.
yes, he said if it was my daughter, this would not be okay. And this would not be allowed to continue. So I guess Kanye heard about this and he went in on DL Hughley and was saying that he kept calling DL Hughley a drug addict and saying that, like, why are we listening to a drug addict? He said a lot of things
My
about
thing is
DL
like,
Hughley.
I like
Oh my God.
obviously this is a whole other topic, but like, thank you for a black man holding a black man accountable because again, this man has me worried, like really concerned for Kim, and I don't like that because we all know I am not a Kardashian fan, but this woman has literally begged this man to stop, and he is doing that predatory behavior that if it happened to anybody that I knew, I would be ready to fight. I'd be trying to get a restraining order. I would be doing everything in my power to prevent him from being able to be around me because he sounds unstable.
But this is actually a quite interesting segue because they, as you know, Kim and Kanye are in an interracial relationship.
Ooh.
We are not talking about real life interracial relationships on this podcast, but we are specifically talking about the Black love, the Black romance genre in tonight's podcast. So just going to do our opener real quick. Welcome everybody to Black Prose Podcast, where Black lives, Black voices, and Black stories have always mattered. And my name is Oshale of Oshi Reads.
My name is Brittany of Melanin Eclectic on all your normal platforms.
Yes. And tonight we are talking about Black love is Black, period. And again, I just want to be very clear that we are talking about the Black romance genre of books. We are not talking about interracial relationships in real life.
If you do get offended, question yourself, not us. I'm gonna just be real because that's a different relationship and a different happy relationship, I hope, for you.
Absolutely. So we're not talking about your life. If you're listening right now and you're in an interracial relationship, that's wonderful. Love is love. Love who you love. Be happy. We are talking specifically about the Black romance genre and how the Black romance genre has been continually disrespected, and people want to reframe that genre into a type of inclusivity that's just not what it was meant for. It was meant to be exclusive for a very good reason, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Okay. We're not talking about your relationship. Be happy.
Right. It's like, because during Black History Month, there was this crazy phenomenon. That every time somebody said, please give us Black romances by Black authors, all the list gave one part, the Black author. They did manage to do that. But it seemed like the whole Black love part was completely ignored.
And this is my thing. We have Black romance authors who write a variety, right? They write interracial romance. They write Black love. They might even write some white romance. I'm calling it white romance because it keeps being called mainstream romance or just regular romance. And I don't even think
to accept that definition.
I don't think we even realize like that is actually insulting.
Hell yeah.
And like that they're the baseline. So I've just started calling it white romance. Sorry, that's just what I'm gonna do. But we have Black romance authors who write across the board. Kennedy Ryan comes to mind, right? She's written Black romance, she's written interracial romance, she's written white romance, she's written a little bit of everything. And so when you have an author like that, some people were getting confused. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Some people were getting confused with the list and they were thinking, okay, well, this is a Black author. And in this story, one of the protagonists is Black, one of the romantic interests is Black, but the other romantic interest would be non-Black, right? And you have a lot of readers and reviewers who feel like that is sufficient and that should be included in the Black romance genre, that when people ask for Black romances, that it's okay to include those books, whether it be because the author is Black or because one of them, the love interest is Black, that should be enough. And so this podcast is addressing how that is problematic.
Yeah. And I mean,
You're just like,
because why, Black people are the only people that whenever it comes to a category of things, they will immediately erase us to make themselves comfortable. It happens in every single genre. I mean, for God's sakes, God of War released one Black girl in a game that's coming out in the future, and they lost their shit because they said the games were too woke. We have a genre specifically for ourselves, and they want to be in it. So now they're trying to change the narrative so that they can be included. Make it make sense. 1 + 1 is still 2.
And I think the issue really comes when the authors themselves, the authors who exclusively and specifically only write Black romance, which by definition is, a romance between two or more Black characters. Okay, Black. Black identifying characters. I think that the issue becomes when those authors themselves speak up and they say, why are you trying to erase us? Why are you trying to erase our work? Why are you trying to reframe our work? Like, yes. We write Black romance. Like, I understand that these authors over here are writing interracial romance and they're doing a wonderful job, and you're enjoying their books and you're loving their books, and that is amazing that they're being celebrated. However, that's not what we're doing over here. This is what we're doing. And it's okay to celebrate and recognize them and also celebrate and recognize us, and have that be two separate categories and have that be okay.
As it should be. But for some reason, it's like, oh my God, Black love? No. Obviously, when we're saying Black love, it has to be a more palatable romance for everyone, because apparently Black love is still not palatable. So they spend so much time and energy trying to redefine it to make themselves more comfortable while erasing our love stories completely out of the narrative. It's so wild to me. I think I was on Book Talk, because Book Talk was having a moment with this, honey, because all the girls thought they was giving out these beautiful lists, and it was like, baby, and one example of Black love in these books that you gave. Fantastic authors, and I'm sure fantastic stories, but where's the actual Black in it?
It's not there. It's not there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's frustrating because you do have a lot of reviewers and readers even who are very well, I don't see what the big deal is. And one of the characters is Black and it features their whole family and they're Black. And okay, just because the love interest is white or Asian or, a non-Black love interest, why does it matter as long as the main, or I've heard this too, well, the female protagonist is Black, and somehow that being more important, that the woman in the equation is Black. And so whoever else involved, them being non-Black, is not as big of a deal. I've heard that. And I'm just like, what? Where does the logic there? But I'm confused. So I've heard a lot of rationalizations, and people, of course, are entitled to their own opinions. I always just come back down to the authors themselves and the way that they want to be categorized and want to be seen, and what they do not want in their space. And I think that is just the respectful thing to do. When authors writing Black romance say, please do not lump us in with interracial romance. We have our own separate category that we work very hard to build, and this is what we do. I don't understand why that can't be respected. Period.
Also, why do people get so offended when we say it's interracial romance? You would think that we
people
would cuss at them
hate that.
But they get so defensive, and it's like, oh no, those are interracial. Oh my gosh, well, it's baby. An interracial romance is between one or more different races of people, hence interracial.
Right.
Why are you so pressed? You can accept an interracial relationship in real life, but you can't accept it as a category in romance?
No, they cannot. It's the strangest thing. It's almost like saying interracial romance is like some kind of like bad word or like taboo or something. It's
No, because
really
I'm like,
bizarre.
why is there so much? It's like at this point, it's like, yeah, somebody needs to go ahead and create an interracial romance read along, because they the title interracial romance gets shitted on just as much as Black love when you think about it, because they're so adamant not to use that phrase.
They are. And maybe that's why they want to lump in the interracial romances with the Black romances. They want to just combine it all into one category. And it's like, no, 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 no. And they feel as long as one of the main love interests is Black, then that's enough. It's Black enough. And I'm like, no, it's giving me Blackish. It's giving me that guy that keeps making up shows about mixed people, but saying that he's giving us Blackness.
Keeps making up shows about mixed people? What show is that?
Kenya Bars.
What show has he made?
He Blackish, mixedish.
All right.
He keeps giving us shows about mixed people, and then he's telling us that it's like authentic Blackness, and I'm like, sir, you keep giving us shows about mixed people. Like, I'm confused. You're giving authentic mixedness, which is great. Mixed people deserve representation too, but don't sit here and play in my face and tell me that you are giving me like something on the level of like give me a good Black show. I don't know, Martin, or like on the, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what you're doing for me. You're not, this is not Living Single. Like, no. Like, you're doing great work, sir, but you lying. Like,
yeah,
stop.
I think that's the part that kills me, because I like it's just like a mainstream thing now where it's like, yes, we're getting more diversity, which is fantastic. But it's literally like they will do the bare minimum add a Black person and then act like they have just done the most amazing thing they could have ever done by putting one Black person in the story. And now it's on every Black story list on Hulu and Disney Plus. And you're like, but baby, what about this is what about this connects to Black people? What about it? Because it's not connecting for us. It's not.
And the thing is, I don't think that people realize, because a lot of people will say, well, what's the problem? Like, you know, any representation is good representation. And I don't think that people, well, that's blatantly not true, but I don't think people recognize the issue is that the subliminal messaging underneath all of this is that Blackness on its own is not enough. Right. And it's not good enough to stand alone. And it's not good enough to be centered solely on its own, that it needs something else to make it palatable. It needs something else to make it acceptable. It needs something else to make it okay, right? And that's the subliminal messaging that is underneath all of this. And I'm like, that's the problem. You know, we're not angry because people love interracial romance books, or angry because people want to celebrate these stories, or, you know, that's not the point.
Because those stories also have value, but why the fuck do you have to keep ignoring mine? I'm sorry.
I was like, whoa.
Because it's like, it's almost like, for example, you know, well, I can use my job as an example, because I am the token at my job.
Right.
Like, I represent every form of diversity at my job. Like,
because you're the only diversity at your job.
I'm the only diversity at my job. And like the boss before the boss that I have now, whenever like the higher ups would come into the office, like we would all be sitting down and he would purposely single me out, like, oh Brittany, tell them what school you went to, tell them what you did here. And it was literally like, hey, look, I've got a little Black person, be happy. See, I'm like, I care about the diversity of people, and she's a girl. Oh my gosh. That is legit how I've been feeling about the whole Black romance thing, because I was really sitting there like, so let me get this straight. There are Black stories with Black people doing things that Black people can identify with, because that part's also very important. They're not out here being hella colorist.
Right.
They're not out here just, oh my God, my love is only trauma filled. Nope, not doing that. We're writing beautiful love stories. I have read very few romance books in my life, and it's obviously all because of y'all, but the few that I have read, all of those dark chocolate men sound fine. And I would love to meet any of them on the street. Any of them would be suffice. But for some reason, those stories are not good enough for mainstream. Those stories are not the stories that people are talking about. Those are not the stories where people are talking about their love interest and like, oh my gosh, he or she sounds fine, or he or they sounds fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that whenever it comes down to Black love or Black in general, we always have the conversation about being palatable as if we are food on a plate that you have to eat rather than people?
Damn, that's a whole word. And it's true. Like, that there's a sense of like not being enough. And I know a lot of the independent romance, Black romance authors talk a lot about how they have built up the Black romance genre, like literally built it up through blood, sweat, and tears. They're not signed. Most of them are not signed to like a big publishing house or have like big agents behind them or any type of like machine, and how everything they've done, they had to do themselves, including all of their marketing and getting the word out about their books. And I think that's why it's also a slap in the face when you have a community of authors that have worked so hard to build something up and to, you know, stand tall in this space and be seen and have their books be read by a wider community of readers, and they're finally starting to get recognized. And then all of that to kind of be trivialized by just I'm just going to say it, this is going to sound horrible, but just slapping along some like mainstream interracial romances that have just made the bestseller list, and then just including it in something that they have like clawed their way to build, you know, like that's gotta leave like a sour taste in your mouth. Like, and it's like you're doing it in order to be like, see, you can read these books too. And it's like, who are you trying to make more comfortable?
Right.
Who are you trying to like, you know what I'm saying? Like when these lists are made, like who are you trying to comfort here? Who are you trying to placate here? Why is it not okay to just say, this is a Black romance list, and every single book on this list is the definition of a Black romance, which is love between two or more Black people. And yes, we are standing by this proudly, and this is what it is. These are some great stories. Hope you check them out. I mean, that's literally why we started Naked.
Yeah, it's just like, I just want to know, because obviously this type of mentality matriculated into like real life relationships as well, which has caused a whole other community issue. But it's like, damn, bro, like when I look at a list for Black love, I am looking for an actual tall, dark, and handsome with somebody that I can relate to on many levels, because we're the only race that wears bonnets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to read a story about having to like decide to keep on my bonnet or not if this is the first night I'm sleeping with a guy. That's the kind of thing I can relate to.
Right. Very true.
Like, we're great for marketing when it comes to certain holidays, because I'm sure this is going to pop back up for Juneteenth as well.
Yes.
We're great for trying to prove that a company cares about diversity.
Yes.
But we are not good enough to have our stories not only told mainstream, but also highlighted mainstream. And it's just like, we know about these authors. I obviously didn't know about the whole romance genre author thing until I met y'all. But it's like the fact that when it comes to romance, most of the Black romance authors are self-publishing.
A lot of them are. There are a lot, like Miss WOC Reader brings up a good point. Like there are a lot of the mainstream ones, and you're right, they are published by Harlequin, and you know they have those like covers with like the Black couple on the cover, and it may be like a historical, and like we've all seen them growing up, but they're not really talked about a lot. Like I remember even growing up, like Black mainstream romances that came through like traditional publishing houses like Harlequin and like you mentioned, Miss WOC Reader, Kensington's Black imprint, like those were not talked about like at all. Like you go to the library and it was really hard to find them. You would go to the bookstore and they would be there, but they would be in like a little shelf in the corner. Like they were hard to find. Just gonna keep it real. It was much easier to find like a white romance bodice ripper type, you know, those were like the majority of the books. And then in like a little shelf and like on the side, they would have like the Black romances there. So the difference I feel like today is that I'll walk into a bookstore and there will be displays in the front with Black romances. And the Black romances today are not like those old school, like the Harlequin imprints still exist and they're still writing books, but the ones that they showcase, like when you walk into Barnes and Noble and you walk into the romance section, are definitely more of like the more modern day romances with like the cute little cartoon covers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
That's what's being pushed today. So at least they're showing them in the front. Like that's the difference. It's like, well, they're in the front now. They're not like back in the corner somewhere on a random shelf. Like I guess they're like part of the display now. So that's good.
Only for certain seasons of the year though.
Or only if they've made the bestseller list. Like there are a list of like 3 to 5 authors that have broken out and have made the bestseller list, and people know about these authors, and they're the ones that get recommended all the time on Book Talk and Bookstagram and BookTube and all these book spaces, online spaces. And so you constantly see their books everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think because it's like, well, what can we do as the readers? Because obviously the people that disagree with us are not listening to Black prose. They don't even like us.
No.
So it's like, we have to keep pushing against this narrative that all of these relationships can be combined into one category and that they have their 2 separate categories that should be respected and loved.
Absolutely.
And then, more importantly, we've got to stop accepting these bullshit ass lists.
You're so mad about these lists.
Like, for example, because for Naked last year, remember when we did that live and we started talking about books? Yes. I had to go through each one of those books and verify that they were actually Black relationships. Because a couple of the suggestions that we got, as good as the book sounded, were interracial relationships and didn't fit the prompts.
Agreed.
So because it was like,
it is a Black romance readathon.
Yeah. So it's just like, I personally think it's like, dang, bro. Like, so it's like this year we're trying to think of like how to make Naked like even more about that. And it's like, I mean, first of all, we're gonna have to screen, because it's like we want to uplift all Black romance authors. Awesome. Yes. But we also want to uplift the Black romance authors that are writing Black romances.
Yes.
And it's not to say that writing any other romance is less. It's just that's the purpose of Naked. So like,
that's the purpose of having romance categories, right? Like if you can have monster smut and you can have, sci-fi romance and you can have then you can also have Black romance. And yes, all of those categories can exist under the Black romance umbrella, but go with me here. It's a point. Like you can have categories for everything else. Why can't you just have a specific category for just Black romances? It's possible. And also, it's okay.
I'm just going to go look up these covers. Again, like I love, like, you remember when we were younger and like all the romance novels had like the same white guy with the super long blonde hair and like the Fabio. Super mega pecs?
Yes.
Like I also have to give credit to the Black romance writers, because they don't even have to be naked. Like, but them men on the cover be fine.
I agree. I always think about specifically like, I feel like Christina C. Jones's books have some great men on her cover. Yeah, like I'm always just like, where did you find this model?
I've actually asked her, because I was like, first of all, you write about fine men, but then you find these covers of real life men. Are they single?
Yeah. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, we deserve that. And it deserves to be just as mainstream as every other romance.
I know.
Because, what are they going through? The same shit everybody else is.
And I think, honestly, that is what I love about Black romance, because like you said, Brittany, it's an escape. And it's great to read about Black people falling in love with each other and living beautiful lives and having businesses and starting great careers and working in corporate or whatever they're doing, traveling. I mean, coming home to their apartments, hanging out with their families, having conversations with their siblings, or their siblings are dragging them for finally falling for someone. Like just normal.
Getting their hair braided for a great date,
Yes, like, just our lives. We can see ourselves, and we can see ourselves represented in what we go through, and it's devoid. A lot of times, it's devoid of the trauma that is like constantly dodged in these other genres, right? the literary genre and the fiction genre, where we're always reading about some type of form of Black trauma. And it's so nice to get away from that in the Black romance genre for the most part.
Yeah,
And
there
just
are some other stories that have their moments.
they have their moments. And I mean, we have our moments. You know, it's nice also to read about like characters going to therapy and like getting over traumatic things that have happened in their lives and like getting stronger and then finding love with somebody because they're on their path to healing. Like that's relatable too. And it's nice to read about. And I like to come in away into a world where we can just love and exist and live, as opposed to like reading a book where we're talking about the after effects of someone's cousin being gunned down by police. You know, like it's just two different worlds. And sometimes it's nice to be in the world where we can just be in love and follow the main character down some like harebrained schemes to get this dude to notice her. Like it's just nice. And we deserve to have that space. We deserve to have those stories.
And we
Period.
also deserve to not have it infiltrated.
Exactly.
That's just the only word I can think of. Infiltrated.
Infiltrated.
Because it's like, think about it. When we see other book lists, and it's book lists for all, I can't even think of a specific category right now. When you see book lists, all the other book lists are exactly what we're asking for. Only
Yes.
when it comes down to Black love or Black romance, do we get these befuddled lists where we're questioning, oh, is this actually Black love? Oh, I don't really like, I can't really say whether or not, I'm not sure. Oh, that cover might be. Oh, actually, it's not.
Right.
He's Hispanic. Like it's just
Yeah.
like I just want it clear.
Yes. Agreed.
And because I mean, again, I've only read a couple of them, and it's all because of y'all. But the ones that I read, I enjoyed. Like, obviously I didn't really care for the romance parts. I know that's y'all thing, but
I cannot.
I enjoyed the parts where it was like she went to meet her friend for brunch, and her friend told her to stop being uptight and go get piped down. You know, like
right.
And I cackled because it was like real talk, though. Real talk.
Real.
Those are real
talk.
conversations that are had. And I appreciate it for it being said just how it was said, because
it's so real and so just
inappropriateness.
That's exactly what happens at brunch. Literally.
Right, that is a real brunch conversation. Or like Miss WSC Reader said, I find when I pick up Black romance, they're more likely to have family members around and involved.
Agreed.
We get very healthy representations of Black people in Black romances.
Of community, right?
Yes.
Of community, like whether it be, oh, we're all going over to grandma's house because she cooks every Sunday dinner and we all congregate there. Like whatever it is, it's just nice to see the community.
Yeah, or it's like they've been best friends since college, and like now, like their kids call him uncle and
right.
stuff like that. Like it's so nice to just exist in a world where because we actually exist like that in real life.
Exactly.
And it's calming, surprisingly.
It is calming. But I feel like my anger has passed.
Oh, I can go on for days.
And now I just like want to acknowledge that there are book bloggers and reviewers out there that have dedicated themselves to acknowledging and uplifting Black romance and Black romance authors. And those people are out there doing great work in shining a light on a genre that is so maligned and like unfortunately overlooked, although we're trying to change that. And so I didn't want to make it sound like we're just saying that nobody is doing this and everybody is, not recognizing Black romance as its own category, because that's not true. We have a lot of great book bloggers and book talkers and bookstagrammers and Black YouTubers and otherwise just booktubers in general who have recognized Black romance as its own genre and are promoting Black romance authors and books. So those people are out there.
Yeah. And, when we find more of them, we're going to be trying to shout them out, as always, on Instagram and stuff. Because, again, it's not that the work is not already being done. It's not like it doesn't already exist. The problem is the work is not being showcased how it should be. Like, we're not uplifting it because it's getting pushed behind other things and more popular topics.
And it's also just, when things aren't clear, then you may have people who have never read Black romance before, or they're not very familiar with the genre. They find these book lists and then they think that Black romance is something that it's not. They think that it's inclusive of interracial romance, and that's how they see it. And that causes confusion
That's how
too.
we keep getting these juggly ass lists.
Agreed. And I mean, I've literally heard a romance reviewer say before that they feel like if a romance is written by a Black author, then it should be considered Black romance. And I was just like,
huh?
no.
Wait a minute.
I was so confused.
Wait, say that again. Just say that one more time.
If a romance is written by a Black author, then it should be considered Black romance. And I was just like, I need to unpack this because I'm so confused. There are a lot of Black romance authors who literally only write like white romance.
And because
so they should be included.
Is Black, that they consider that Black romance?
Yes.
But it's between two white people?
Yes.
The math is not mathing.
What? Look. I had to pause their video.
I had to have you repeat that again because my mind blanked.
I needed to take that in, and I needed to just unpack that for myself because I was really confused. They're like, well, the author's Black, and I feel like that's what matters the most is that we're supporting these Black authors. And I was just like,
and was this person a Black person saying
yes
that? I'm so disappointed.
Well, I think that I'm coming from a place of like, I see what they're saying, right? They're saying we need to support Black authors. They're saying we need to support Black authors, period. No matter what they're writing, we just need to support them. They need more support. And they're writing romance. Like, that's already a genre that gets a lot of like shade and like not a lot of respect. So we need to support these Black women writing these stories, no matter what the stories are. And writing these romance stories, right? And so it's like, I kind of understood where she was coming from, but then I was also just like, oh, no, can't do that. No, can't. Nope.
I'm going to strongly, with my entire chest, disagree with that statement.
Because it just does a disservice to both sides. Like, it does a disservice to the Black author that is writing romance that is just whatever they want. Like, it's not Black romance. They're just writing whatever. It does a disservice to them, because they deserve their own separate recognition, their own separate spotlight, their own separate lists. And it does a disservice to the Black romance authors. Like, both sides are not being served as well as they could be. That's my thing.
And again, to think that my Black ass experience should not be told in a love story. And then y'all still want to, like, how can you create a genre of Black romance without Black people?
Look.
In the story. Like, I'm so like, no, I cannot stand this erasure.
It's crazy. Is it not crazy?
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's just like, it's the same thing with the girls on Twitter that were having a full uproar about Black romances. And they considered them Black romances because the female protagonist was Black, but she was, quote unquote, getting everything that she deserved from her white lover. And it was like, sweetie.
So it's interracial romance.
Right. And it's like, it turned in like, it's like, I just want to understand why.
It's very baffling. Like, I don't understand like the gymnastics, because it's like you're literally twisting yourself into a pretzel to make this make sense. And it's not making sense. And it's a really ugly pretzel. And you need to just relax.
It's a really ugly pretzel. No sauce for you.
Relax.
Yeah. Like, I just want to know, like, if you choose to date if you choose to date a different race than your own, that's perfectly fine. But is there a reason that you feel so adamant that you have to redefine it to fit a different narrative? Like, are you not comfortable?
You know what's interesting? And we've had this conversation before, Brittany, like, just going off of what you just said. Like, I thought we've literally had this conversation. Like, okay, so what if I started dating out of my race, right? Because again, there's no problem with that. Wherever you find love, that's beautiful. But if I started dating, like, let's say I started dating a white man,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, would I stop reading Black romance because now I feel like I need to read only interracial romance
But
because
why did you feel like you needed to do that is the
I'm not
question.
in a Black love situation, right? I'm in interracial situation. So I need to stop reading. And I was like, no, because nobody tells themselves that when they pick up a white romance. Like, I'm
Also,
not
I'm
white.
single as hell right now, and I'm not sitting here deciding which color fits my singleness.
Like, because I mean, I've heard that argument too, right? Like, oh, well, I'm sorry, like that I thought that these interracial romances, I wanted to include them with the Black romances, but I myself am in an interracial situation and I can't relate to that Black romance. And this is what I can relate to. And I think that that is perfectly acceptable. Like, a lot of people feel like that. And I think that's fine. Well, it's acceptable if they feel like that. It's not acceptable that they're trying to lump interracial in with Black, right? But I understand where they're coming
Yeah.
from. And everyone is, entitled to how they feel, and all your feelings are valid.
You're so
But
much
I
more
also
understanding
think,
than me.
well, I also think that in that same like, if we follow that logic, then I wouldn't read white romance because I'm not white, right? And then I wouldn't read Asian romance,
If I followed
or
that logic, I wouldn't be reading much of anything.
I wouldn't read monster smut because I'm not an alien.
I wouldn't
And
read shit because I'm Black. And most of the Black stories are not told.
I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff that I just wouldn't read because I can't relate to it and I don't feel like comfortable there. So I would just not read it. And I was like, that would cross out quite a lot of stuff.
And actually, Miss WOC Reader just said exactly what I was about to say. I don't understand how they can't relate to Black romances. They don't have Black parents, aunties, cousins. Like, it's like, so you just completely erase your Blackness all of a sudden. Like you're no longer Black because you're dating interracially. I don't understand the disconnect.
But here's the thing. I don't think we even realize how conquered that mindset is, right? And how much it lends its weight to like an oppressed mindset. Because if you think about it, that is the same kind of attitude that people have about Black people in Black characters in books, period. It's like, how many reviews have you heard from non-Black people
I can't
who
relate.
say, I couldn't relate to this, but I just can't put my finger on why I didn't really like this as much as I thought I would. I can't really figure out
Imagine
what
if
it
the only way you could
was.
like a book is if you could relate to it. All the books that I've read in my lifetime, I would have never loved any of them because we didn't start getting Black characters. So very recently.
Well, we didn't start getting Black characters that weren't steeped in slave narratives and narratives about,
or the
post-slavery.
Right.
Right. We did not get those narratives until really now.
Right. So it's like imagine if the only way that I could say I liked a book was if I could find a Black person in the book.
There'd be a lot of books that we just wouldn't be able to read.
I mean, we wouldn't be able to read until our adult years because we didn't even have those options as kids.
No, we didn't.
Especially in middle grade.
Oh, yeah. So that's the road you go down when you use that logic. Like, I completely understand those feelings. And I think that those feelings come from more of a place of feeling like allowing yourself to feel some type of shame about your relationship. Right. And I'm not a therapist, so we're not going to go down that road too deeply, but you have to kind of unpack why you feel that way, because if you follow that logic all the way through, it's not feasible, right? Like you don't read necessarily to relate. That is a perk of reading a book. Like, oh, this was great that I could relate to this character. Like, I really felt close to this character. But most of us didn't start picking up books because we could relate and we were looking for a place to relate, especially non-white. Like, if you're a POC, if you're a person of color, if you're Black, any other person of color, and that you're not white, you didn't start reading because you were looking for something to relate to. You read as an escape. You read to go on an adventure. You read because the cover was pretty. You read because it was Saturday afternoon and you couldn't go out and play with your friends and it was raining.
Because that was the section of the library you weren't allowed to go in, so you obviously had to go pick up a book. Like,
look, you read because you were on punishment. Like, you were trying to escape. Like, the majority of us did not start reading because we were looking for something to relate to.
Because we couldn't.
Like,
And we are still to this day fighting for our stories to be valued.
it was a perk if we could find something to relate to. It was a
Right?
miracle if we could find a mirror, a character that looked like us, had our hair, had our culture, had our background. It's like, wow, this is amazing. And thank God they have way more stories today that we can have that experience with. But it's like, if you follow down that rabbit hole, it just doesn't make sense. So there's a deeper issue there that needs to be unpacked. Because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, Black romance needs to stay Black.
I just
Okay?
want to read through some of these comments because y'all hitting. So this first one. Every white monster, mafia, royalty, interracial romance is relatable until it includes Black people. ...
Ooh.
Oops. Mm.
Oh.
Also, I'm going to have a quick sidebar. Quick. I swear it's quick. Let me read this comment for you. Like the recent uproar about Black people being in the new Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Not being true to life, but dragons and elves are. Listen, why
Lord of
is
the
it?
Rings is a fictional, it's based on a fictional world. Middle Earth is not real.
Let me get into these Middle Earthers' ass real quick. Why is it we can accept dragons? We can accept elves, goblins. We can accept warlocks, witches. We can accept kingdoms that never existed. We can accept families that came from books until they are melanated. And then all of a sudden, the story becomes something terrible. There's no way that character could be Black, even though this character is totally made up and never had a race specified. There's no way that a place that does not have a race in the entire fantastical world could exist if there's Black people. It goes into the same thing with romance. There's absolutely no possible way there could be healthy Black romances because all we see on TV is these stereotypes that sell to white people. So there couldn't possibly be a positive representation of Black people anywhere doing anything other than the stereotypical things we're supposed to do. But the moment we step our foot and tell you we're supposed to be there, it's, I can't relate. Yep. Oh my God, that's not accurate. Oh my gosh, we should probably stick to the true story. Like, what is the true story? What is the true story?
Please tell us what the true story is.
Tell me
I'm
the
waiting.
story. I will sit down, make some popcorn, and you can tell me the true story.
Look.
Because I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm like, I just want to know. Also, this other comment took me out.
Uh-oh. We got to scroll up because there's a lot of stuff.
Don't get me started on the people labeling sci-fi romances as Black romance where the one of the leads is Black and the other an alien. It ain't
what?
Girl,
wait, what? Are you serious?
Let me get this straight. Two of our Black people having a relationship. Oh no, we're just gonna go ahead and lump interracial in there. But a Black person and alien, then they want to call that Black romance. Do you see the foolishness?
Oh my God.
Totally acceptable though. That's totally acceptable.
I know we like to make memes about how different like cartoon characters and like monster like, you know, characters were Black. Like, don't tell me that like Skeeter isn't Black, and don't tell me that like,
I mean, that's fun conversations as well.
But we're not actually serious. Like,
you know, it's like, baby, when we say Black, oh my gosh. Why is there such a confusion when we say Black love? They want to include everything but Black. They are including aliens. They are including aliens.
That's a lot. That's definitely crossing into monster smut and monster romance territory. Please back away. Like, let them, they have their own, please. Please.
I'm so sure. We have a whole genre of monster smut, but now the monsters are becoming Black love too.
It's too much.
I'm so disappointed. Like reading that, I was like, please, God, no. Just no.
That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack.
I just
Oh no, we have an author drop. Let's see.
An author drop? What you mean?
Read the comments.
Oh, sorry. I was still going through. Let me go back. It says, there's no excuse anymore for people to say that they can't find any Black insert in whatever. When I read black vampires, werewolves, shifters, genies, mermen, bikers, mafia, and witches, this part.
Yes.
We never cared. If we could read a book and we know it's not us, and we still enjoy it, why is it so difficult for everybody to enjoy us?
The problem is that white has been made the default and has been made the norm. So whenever anything is shifted out of the norm, people who are uncomfortable with the ideal of true equality, because people talk about equality all day long, but when equality actually starts to happen, people become very uncomfortable all of a sudden. All of a sudden, they can't relate. All of a sudden, oh no, why are they getting that?
The oppressor starts to feel oppressed when he's no longer at the top of the pyramid.
Yes.
When the pyramid starts becoming a straight road and he starts getting lower and lower to be equal to the rest of us,
people have problems.
And they call everything woke.
Yes.
Because God forbid we just include a little diversity like we are in regular life.
Exactly.
Okay. I came across an author acting like she was the first author to write a black love triangle in YA. And I had to point out that Harlequin and Kensington had black teen imprints.
Awkward. I mean, there's really nothing. There's nothing new under the sun. I wish the people would just embrace that and go from there.
Yeah, in 2022, ain't nothing really new. So, like, don't try to be the first. Try to be one of the ones writing the good ones.
Yeah, write the good ones. Write the ones that are.
A lot of the YA love triangles are not even love triangles. So
yeah, let's not. We don't want to speak on that. That's a whole nother podcast topic. Oh my gosh.
Next one. It's like how there never any black folks in sci-fi or literally one up until recent years. Also facts. That's why it's blowing my mind that now sci-fi romance is trying to say it's black love, because we just started getting black people in sci-fi stories like yesterday.
I know.
No, I saw that combo. It was a blue alien. No.
I'm sorry, I cannot.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm laughing because it's like it's better for me to laugh than cry. I don't want to cry. Like, I'd rather just laugh. Wow.
Actually, this is the same kind of thing. Like, if you can read a book about a white mafia and you love it, but you get a black one and you can't relate, the only difference between the two is skin color.
I've always noticed that when white mafia romances are discussed, it's like, ooh, edgy, dark, amazing, thrilling. Ooh, these bad boys, da 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 da. Right.
Right.
What white mafia? When black mafia romances are discussed, it's very violent, you know, and there's a lot of violence in it.
A lot of thugs and gangsters.
It's just, I don't know. And I'm just like, what?
I don't know. Always take me out, because it's like I don't know. They're translating to my real thoughts could come out racist.
It's just like I
don't know.
I just felt uncomfortable with a lot. You know, trigger warning for this, trigger warning for that. I'm like, okay, you were not giving me a trigger warning when you were raving about this white mafia romance series that you just finished 3 months ago.
Ooh.
Okay, it was all about how delicious this and ooh and yes. Okay, You were not giving me any trigger warnings. And in the first page, someone's head got blown off. So where was my trigger warning?
Like, I'm sorry, wasn't ready. Not the first page.
It's true. Oh, why?
Oh man. Okay.
Sorry.
Ready for that.
I had to rant a little bit.
Yeah, black folks in TikToks tried to say the mafia doesn't actually hurt people and the white guys live in the burbs, so it's okay. What mafia are they talking about?
I'm sorry. What?
Have you seen The Sopranos?
I'm sorry. I'm not a dark, twisted person, but if I'm reading a mafia romance and people don't die left and right, I am very disappointed.
Then what are we reading then?
I'm just like, it's not giving me what it was supposed to give us. not what I came here for.
I'm very confused because, like, there's a reason all the mafia leaders eventually ended up in jail for multiple crimes.
Like, I came here for murder, mayhem, love,
Right.
sex,
I
and
came here
drugs.
for
Like,
murder, drug dealing, backstabbing. I came for it all, honey. If we're not doing that, this is not a mafia romance. This is just General Hospital.
not general.
What do I want with that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
just,
so now we're redefining mafia romances. Great.
Apparently, anytime Black people are included, it requires a redefinition. Is what I'm gathering, because every time we bring up a different genre, and if it's a Black person, it changes all of it. It changes the original definition of what it was.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, damn. I mean, be racist, it's fine, but don't change the whole category to fit your racist narratives.
Yeah, please don't, because you will be swiftly corrected.
You can sit here and say that it's not that, but the only difference between that mafia story and a Black mafia story is literally the color of their skin.
That's it.
Because the same stuff is still happening. Yeah, it might not happen at the docks.
Stop.
It might happen at the Pink House. You know, like, okay, but is the same stuff still happening?
Might be happening at the trap instead of the docks.
Because, you know, every white mafia, they work at the docks. Every single one of them. So I just need people to really do some self-analyzing here, because, like, you might have some deep-rooted racism that
For
you
real.
may know about and don't care, or you haven't really done a lot of introspection. Because it's ridiculous that we keep coming to this conversation over and over. Every Black History Month, every Juneteenth, every time there's any moment to uplift Black people,
this conversation is had.
And it's like, no, everybody else gets their moment. And I am going to make sure that we can continue to get ours. Because it's ridiculous that we have to keep fighting for the bare minimum. The bare freaking minimum.
The bare minimum
is having a Black romance category. That's the bare minimum.
Agreed.
I don't understand. Like, we cannot. I'm tired.
I mean, there's a lot of people really upset about this mafia situation.
I know, but because, like, it makes no freaking sense. Like,
it's truly, truly baffling. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is right here. The mafia is hella violent. They just got white privilege and new cover up. My hometown had Irish and Italian mafia war for a bit, but the news covered it up, but stay showing Black crime.
Yep.
Like, that's the whole proximity crime is a whole other conversation.
It is. It's a whole nother podcast.
Also, this is my friend. Hi, friend. I'm a novice to those, but do you feel that they also treat the white mafia like, oh, they're all about family and respect and fancy outfits, but they give Black mafia street gang depth and nothing else? If a white person writes it, yes.
I mean, there's literally a whole genre of movies called gangster movies dedicated to the white mafia and how they're just so elite and like
yes, they're corrupt, but they care about their families.
Yes, and look at them in their suits, and it's all about Antonio, my son. Yes, kiss the ring. Like, it's all like glamorized. Well, like, it's super glamorized, right? And it's I know we just went into this like restaurant and the card game in the back and killed everybody there, but my son, let's ride in this Rolls Royce.
It's like, always like a mess. Like, oh, but I had to seek my honor.
Right. Like, the glamorization when it comes to the white mafia, it's a lot.
I wanted to stop. Like, I'm like, dang. And I know, like, we're having this conversation because we're all just fed up with it. Like, the real problem is, in fact, everyone else. So, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be stuck on this. I'm probably gonna make mafia references for like the next month. And I've never even read a mafia romance, but I just took a general guess of what the story was about.
Of course.
And so it's like, Black romance makes you uncomfortable because it's Black.
It's the Blackness that's making you uncomfortable.
The only reason why you want to try to put in other things It's the only reason why all of a sudden you claim you can't relate. And it's all of a sudden why you try to make it relatable. We never asked you to come here.
Mm.
So if you don't want to read Black romance, that's fine. Make your own list and title it its appropriate title. Leave us alone.
Because we're enjoying it over here. We are enjoying.
Okay, wait.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Loud and I hate that Black women. I hate the Black women that come out saying that Black romance is unrealistic.
Wait, when did this happen?
That Black romance is unrealistic? Who is saying Black romance is unrealistic? You know what? I want them to take that energy, go to their Black ass mommy and daddies, and say that to their face. That is the equivalent of I don't date Black people because Black people got too much attitude. Say that same energy to your mom and dad who made you.
This is a lot.
I'm shocked.
Wow.
I could not like. That's the level of self-hatred that them and a therapist need to work on, because I can't. How dare you?
I mean, according to the stats, isn't interracial romance rarer than Black romance?
All
right?
I'm going to say is one of them has a higher divorce rate than the other.
So it's just kind of like, I mean, what? I'm confused.
I just like Black women saying they can't relate to Black love.
That's sad.
That's really heartbreaking to hear, because like
I feel like we've already gone down that not relating road, and how that has nothing to do with what you can read and not read. And I feel like if you're being triggered by something that you're reading or not reading, then that you need to dig deep and do some self-work with that and kind of figure out what is triggering you so badly and why that is. And it doesn't mean that you have to read Black romance.
It doesn't, but you should ask yourself why you're so immediately ready to dismiss your own.
Right. That is a little bit disturbing to me. And also, I just think that, like, why are we the only race of people that are saying that love amongst us is unrealistic? That's weird.
Like, how did you think you were made? Kumbaya and high fives? How you think your Black ass came out here? I'm sorry, because it's like
it's just weird. And I mean, it's a whole nother conversation as well, because it's really just talking about how we look at ourselves and how we relate to one another as Black men and women. And I feel like that's like a whole separate topic that we will probably do a podcast about.
When we have the space and the energy to tackle, we'll really have to sit and talk about it. But to be honest, the only reason we haven't really gone into that topic is because it's so disappointing and so exhausting.
It's very exhausting.
Yeah. It's just like,
so exhausting. I don't have the time.
I'm so sad.
Where his mama is the enemy. Wait, go back to that comment.
Also,
but the main character.
Those interracial romances where his mama is the enemy, but the main character never confronts him about her racism.
I don't know about you.
Uh-oh.
But I really enjoy interracial romances that aren't focusing so much on how the non-Black person dating the Black person is so weird and strange, as if we're another species, and how when they bring us home to meet their parents, it's very shocking. And like people are saying microaggressive things and racist things, and maybe that parent is dragged or family member is dragged. Maybe they're not. Now there's a conflict, because if they were dragged, oh my God, your family is racist, but thank you for standing up for me, but I don't think we can be together. And if they're not addressed, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't stand up for me. Your family is racist and I don't think we can be together. Like, those are not my favorite interracial romances to read. I'm not saying that that's not realistic. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in real life. I'm just saying that I prefer to read about love between two people of different races where they're not acting like their Black partner is some weird species that's not even a human being, and how dare they even bring them to touch their lily white tablecloths at dinner at their parents' house. Like, that's just not my cup of tea. So I can't speak.
Apparently we are the real life aliens in this situation.
I can't speak for those writers who write those type of stories. I cannot speak to those stories. I don't read them. Okay. Once I read one, I was like, you know what? I have to go through life with people making me feel like I'm other and I'm just some weird creature out of the lagoon. So I don't really want to read about it. So I'm not
And
going to.
Oshley, you bring beautiful points. And I just want to say, here at Black Pros Club, we will continue to be blackety black, 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 black. We will
Okay.
continue to celebrate Black romance, which is romances between two or more Black identifying people. If the relationship has another race in it, it is interracial. We stand by that here. Argue with someone else.
Mm.
We will continue to have this battle because this is not a battle that we should be having.
No, it's
And
not.
the fact that we're still constantly fighting for our own place is nuts. We are not here for the drama clause of stories. We are
Not
not
here for it.
here for the white savior to come save us. We're
Nope.
not here for you to feel better about yourself because your whole family is racist, but if you like a little melanin, you're good.
Oh,
Like, these
Lord.
are not the stories we're asking for. I am asking for these fine ass chocolate men to be with beautiful melanated queens or whomever they want to be. And if he decides to come over to her house after he stank from playing basketball, then he could do that. And it's not a racist thing. It's not something that requires a crazy topic. Like, they're just in love and being Black. And also, Black is not a monolith. So just because you don't see how you act in a Black story does not mean it's not Black. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But we actually have approached our hour.
Yes.
So we have to keep it short on the weekdays because y'all know we got jobs.
Yo, we got places to be, and I'm sure y'all do too. But thank you so much for joining us for this podcast topic. We really enjoyed having this moment to just rant. So we appreciate you listening. And we will catch you on Thursday, where we will be talking about dun, 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 a Black woman dating multiple different types of men. We are flipping the script.
You worded that is crazy.
Well, there are multiple different types of men. They're different races, different characteristics. Some of them are.
If you would like to join us for a fun, random conversation, we are currently watching the courtship together and having lots of thoughts, and decided that we're sharing it with you guys every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the channel. And also, we have another podcast for you guys next week, which is titled Respect My Boundaries.
And also, we are going to be talking about Goliath the last Sunday of this month, I believe.
Yes, the last Sunday of this month, we will be finally discussing Goliath by Tochi Onyebuchi. It's his adult debut, I think.
I'm so excited!
We have lots to talk about already, just so we're clear.
I know. And then we also will have a special announcement coming up, I think, next week.
No. The first announcement comes tomorrow on Instagram.
Wow, Brittany. Oh my God, it's so soon.
I know. It seemed like it was further away than it was, but
it really did.
Picked the 15th, and that's tomorrow. So if you want to check out the special announcement, we recommend you guys follow us over on our Instagram. Yes. That's Black Pros Book Club.
Yes.
If you've been here for a while, you know what announcement is coming. But if you haven't, we hope you guys get into it with us. Thank y'all so much for coming to the conversation and providing your thoughts and opinions. We always appreciate you guys and everything that you have to say.
Please don't forget to give us a like. It really does help the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to share if you care. You can share this on Twitter or wherever a social platform allows you to share this. And we will catch you guys on Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.